Welcome, everyone. It is lovely to see you all here. Thank you for coming out on this, I think it's a nicer Saturday morning than it was now. It's not raining. I'm going to start with background, which some of you won't need, but others of you may. Clifford J. Benson was an attorney and a Minnesota State Senator from Ortonville for District 48 from 1959 to 1962, and for District 24 from 1963 to 72. Those districts represented Morris and a large section of west central Minnesota. Senator Benson was a key figure in obtaining and locating the University of Minnesota campus in Morris, and he often said that UMN Morris was his greatest achievement. We continue to be grateful that he thought so, and his family apparently still has the golden shovel he utilized at groundbreakings. The Center for Small Towns and the Offices of Sustainability and Community Engagement lead, coordinate, and exemplify the University of Minnesota Morris commitment to engaging with the region, state, and beyond, and serving as a leader and partner for tomorrow. Those are in our strategic plan. Cliff, or CJ Benson, from what I have heard of him, would be proud to be associated with the campus he helped create, and in particular with the work of these units, which broaden the local and regional impact of UMN Morris and bring faculty expertise and student knowledge and innovation, and bring student skills and experiences that make their Morris experience all the more valuable. As we continue to advance our shared climate leadership goals and the UN's sustainability development goals, we rely on the work of the Center for Small Towns, the Office of Community Engagement, the Sustainability Office, and newly, the Morris Challenge. All of their work is central to our advancement. All are places that students come for information about the community and the region, and all place students in local internships, community collaborations, engaged learning projects, and faculty-student research projects, addressing community needs and sustainability. We honor Clifford J. Benson's forward-looking commitment to higher education and to this region, this place, with this dedication. And I hope his memory continues to inspire others. Thank you all. Good morning, everyone. My name is Archie Manolis. I'm the Director of Civic Learning and Engagement here at the University of Minnesota Morris, and I'm really grateful that all of you are taking your Saturday morning to be here with us. I just wanted to point out Kathy Salvi, Troy Goodnow, and Doug, the three other staff who are on this floor, just so you know who they are. You want to wave just for folks to know who are, and many alums who have been involved in many ways in our center. So I'm really grateful to work alongside them. So I've been reflecting recently on how I ended up here, which, bear with me, is relevant to the reasons we're gathering today. It was a rainy evening in April of 2000, and I was on the Executive Express van riding from the Twin Cities Airport to a town called Morris in a state I did not know how to spell. When the van turned off of 94 and then onto 28, I panicked. I told the driver, "I'm going to the university." And he nodded and laughed, and he said, "Yeah, I get this a lot. Not what you were expecting, is it?" So it occurred to me for a fleeting moment that maybe, just maybe, he had never planned to take me to any university at all. And I thought briefly of jumping out of the side door and rolling into the cornfield and running. I did not do that, luckily. So now that I've driven that route hundreds of times, it's hard to believe I was so alarmed. I have come to appreciate the horizontal grandeur of this place, to quote the late, great Bill Holm, and I feel a great relief now when I make that turn toward home. I feel very fortunate to have accidentally found this place and to have fallen in love here. About 2 years in, I thought I was going to be here short term, and about 2 years in, I made a commitment to stay and to raise my family here and to build my career here, so I'm really grateful for that. Morris and the University of Minnesota Morris have provided me with opportunities to make a difference that would not have been possible, I really believe, anywhere else, because of the special magic of this place, which is hard to quantify. I like to believe that the Center for Small Towns, Office of Community Engagement, Office of Sustainability, and soon the Morris Challenge will help our faculty and have helped and will continue to help our faculty and students to discover that same magic that I discovered. Here, students can choose from more than 100 opportunities to apply what they are learning in the classroom to real-world small-town challenges. Through volunteer opportunities, community-engaged learning classes, research projects, and paid internships, an average of 700 students each year participate in some way in addressing challenges in Minnesota's small towns. The vast majority of those opportunities are in the Morris area. More than 60 students in an average year take on paid internships in collaboration with government agencies, schools, and organizations. And these internships often make a really significant difference in their professional and their personal lives long term. Whether they're working on a sustainability challenge, teaching English to a new immigrant, mentoring a child struggling in school, crunching data to assist a nonprofit in writing a grant proposal, interpreting the complicated story of the Dakota War for educators, helping local farmers market their produce, applying computer science skills to build a learning tool, or working with community members to design a mural, students find their voices and they learn to collaborate and lead. Here, faculty expertise becomes an immediate asset rather than an abstract thing that's happening over there at the university. Whether they're researching food insecurity, rural music ensembles, literacy, water quality, I will stop listing things. It's getting a little. They transform their classrooms and their students' lives into spaces where students interact with elders, teach theater, serve as community interpreters, et cetera. So we have, in an average year, we have 30 faculty serve as program advisors, community engaged learning practitioners, or fellows with the center. And we're very grateful to many alumni and others who give each year or regularly to the Center for Small Towns Fund to continue that work. We're very grateful for that. So I'm honored today. Now I'm going to get to Clifford. I promise I will get there. I'm sorry. I just wanted y'all to know what this floor does. So when I was handed a portfolio of Clifford J. Benson's letters and news articles addressing his role in the founding of the University of Minnesota Morris, I was really drawn to a theme that kept reemerging. Benson wanted to create a place where rural youth could have access to a world-class education, and through that education could become rural leaders. And I feel like he understood too, and this also came out in the pieces that I read about him, that small towns are not destined to die, but rather to thrive as long as education and leadership opportunities are available to young people. So I'm honored today that the Center for Small Towns, Office of Community Engagement, Office of Sustainability, Morris Challenge will all be under this umbrella of the Clifford J. Benson Center for Community Partnerships. Benson's efforts to assure that we all have a place to learn, grow, and lead are deeply intertwined with the reasons that terrified 20-something graduate student desperately looking for a job decided to stick it out in Morris. I'm grateful I did. It's the reason so many of our alumni choose to remain here, and they become city managers, county commissioners, school board members, entrepreneurs, sustainable farmers, nonprofit leaders, doctors, educators. I think I'm doing a lot of lists in this, but there's just so much to say, and I don't want to leave anyone out. And the list goes on, and it's the reason those who leave come back for homecoming. I'm so happy to see many of you here, and give back to their alma mater. So I really want to thank you all, the Benson family, for this honor of naming this this floor for your father and your cousin and relative, and yeah, I'm just extremely honored and grateful to you all. The person I really want to hear from is Keith Davison. He was that same year that I was writing about, that I talked about, I wandered into church, and he was one of the first people who welcomed me at my church. So I know that's not what you're talking about today, but I'm really excited that you're here too.
I was able to take off my mask. They told me that when I spoke, I didn't have to wear the
That's
darn thing
right.
because it fogs my eyes. My glasses again, and I'm looking at people that I know and don't know who they are.
Right. Gotcha.
But anyhow, I'm honored to be able to make a few comments about Senator Benson, who is a great friend of mine. When I finished, I was in World War II when I went to law school under the J.I. Bill. And when I graduated, I came out to Minnesota. I was a high school graduate from Minneapolis. I came out to Minnesota to become a country lawyer. And Cliff Benson, at that point, was running a thriving law business in Ortonville. And those of you that remember him know that he was a different individual. He was a real individual. And he had certain things that he always did. For instance, in the fall or late summer when sweet corn came out, he had, I don't remember, hundreds of people that he brought out sweet corn for, including me. And he just was different. And one thing about it, in Ortonville, he was Mr. Ortonville. There was no question about that in my mind. And everybody really loved and respected him. He was a real good lawyer, very resourceful. And but he also was a kind person. And I remember one story, if I may tell about him. He came before me in an ex parte matter where just he and his client came in before the judge. And his client, I knew of her, but I didn't know anything. I'd never seen her anytime. And she was a person that obviously had the knocks of life. I mean, she really was had been beat up by life itself. And she was, you could tell that when you looked at her. And I'm sure that Clifford was there without getting paid. But he stood up and he said, "Your Honor, I want to introduce my client." And he said, "This is Mrs. So-and-so. She's a long-time member of our community, lived in Ortonville for many, many years. She was widowed as a young mother, and she raised 4 outstanding, fine boys." And I looked at him, looked carefully about that, and he was absolutely straight-faced. And then I knew right away, of course, that within the last couple of months, I'd sent one of these kids to prison, and I had another one in the wings. And he was, and of course, he was a prosecutor, so he knew all that, and he knew that I knew it. But this woman just began to sparkle. He just did that to help her. She was in a courtroom, scared to death. Judges scare people. At least I'm scared of them. That was the kind of a man he was. He certainly wasn't paid to do that, and he knew that I was realizing that what he was doing was trying to comfort this poor soul who was, it was probably the first good thing she'd heard for days, about herself. And that was Cliff Benson. So that I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to tell you something about the person, because he was a great person, and he was a people person, and he was, he never was actually, we had all these other people, lots of lawyers and doctors and so on that worked on UMM. They have buildings named after him. Dr. Memler has Memler Hall. And Clayton Gay has Gay Hall, and so on. And Clifford never expected anything, and he never got anything. He was satisfied with what he did. He was responsible for a lot of the beautiful, different sort of things that the people who were promoting Morris as a campus were interested in. And that was reward enough for him. So I'm so pleased that we are doing something about him, because he really was a key into that thing. When they brought the train load, they brought a train load, they brought the whole legislature out here in a special train. And you look at the records there, and who's involved in that? It's Cliff Benson. He was one that was dealing with the railroads and so on. I'm sure that he probably got a pretty good deal. He was a great dealer. So I'm pleased to be here, and I'm so happy for my friends Steve and G.D., who are obviously the same kind of people. They're really great people. Thank you.
Me? Well, Judge, thank you for the kind words. Chancellor, faculty and staff, my wife Jeannie and I are so privileged to be here this morning for this dedication, and to be joined by my cousin Evelyn and her husband from Laverne, and from Florence. who used to work in the law office with my dad, to be here to join up with this morning. So I would be hard pressed to have many more words that haven't already been said, because I would be along with what Keith was saying. My dad was a humble guy. He never sought recognition, and so the part about the train is true. And he knew people, and he took sweet corn to people all over the western Minnesota, down in the cities, all these offices. He'd have people with sacks of corn taken. That's in the summertime. Then in late fall, he took everybody turkeys. So sometimes when he needed something done, there were people that were anxious to help. And the train, which he arranged for, to bring all these legislators out, because money is what it takes to make things run. And this school needed money. There were lots of places that they were looking at to put the university. And he wanted to see it here in west central Minnesota for the farm kids primarily, to be able to get a good education. So he got that train organized, and it was all legal. Each senator paid $1.40 for a ticket to Morris. And they came out and they took them by the hand and they walked them all around the campus and said, this is what we need to do. And then he said, well, now let's go back to the Senate and have some votes. And that's where the money came from. So that was it was a good start for the campus. I'm very sorry our son Zach can't be here to see this about his grandfather. He's gainfully employed in Colorado, which we're grateful for, and not living in our basement. And, but it's just wonderful, and we feel so welcomed here with all of you that we've met this morning, and new faces, and some very old faces, and old friends. And
Old faces.
but I just, he always said to me, he said, just do your best, son. And so I've always tried to do that. And I think that if we all collectively do our best every day, maybe when you think about him, think about doing your best. And that would be a fitting memory to him. So thank you all very much.
Jeannie, I'm going to zoom in, so you're fine, because I'm going to zoom in. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Clifford J. Benson Center for Community Partnerships.
Thank you all that made it possible.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you everyone for coming out today. The schedule for homecoming activities is downstairs on the board. There are refreshments in the conference room here. Stay as long as you'd like to visit, and thank you all very much.